ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Collider Body Slam Raw Recap. I am your host, John Rocha, joined as always by the CEO of Pro Wrestling Sheet and the biggest Ronda Rousey mark there is, Ryan Satin.
That's a new title for me. I like it. No shame in that one.
Yeah,
no shame in that one whatsoever. I've been a fan for a while, so yeah, no shame. No shame.
I'm rolling up my sleeves, man, because we got a lot to talk about in this Raw, and I don't want to get too crazy or mad about it, but we saw a lot of the same this episode that we saw last episode. Maybe a little more cohesive storylines being laid out, but we're building up to TLC. Overall, did you like this Raw? What you feeling? Did you like it better than last week's Raw?
I mean, overall, it was better than last week.
Yeah.
But
because we didn't have the Corbin hour.
I guess
3 hours.
I think that's part of it. But I think that also, it's weird. I really didn't like the first half of the show.
Okay.
I just didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
But the second half of the show, I didn't mind as much.
Okay.
I wasn't like. I feel like last week there were a lot of things that kind of just were like. Just kind of like, I don't know, it just didn't make sense. It was just kind of like, it was insulting my intelligence, kind of. It was just like such a disjointed effort from stuff that we've seen in the past. And just like wasn't quite, didn't fit in the right puzzle pieces for me. Yeah. But this week, I got it. I understood all of it. And at least like there were positive moments that I can find throughout the show. Last week I couldn't find really any. This one I can at least, there are things I enjoyed within this episode.
I would agree with that. There are things I enjoyed as well. Starting off with this tag team match. I know this is in the first half of the show, so maybe you don't like it that much, but I like the way this thing started. There was no dialogue, no promo coming out. It was just boom, Ronda Rousey coming out with Natalya, taking on Tamina and Nia Jax, and then of course the Riot Squad comes out, messes with Natty, Tamina, and Nia take care of Ronda. And Natty has the arm elbow, the issue, but they threw it to the table a little harder than I anticipated.
Yeah, well, she's a heart, so she can take it.
Yeah, I guess so. That's right. It's a good point. She's a heart. She's used to that. But yeah, she played the elbow injury out. We had Ronda go out to the back, challenge Alexa Bliss a little bit later. Get in her face. Which Alexa, look, she is growing by leaps and bounds every week. Yeah, if she never sees a ring, I'll be happy. If she stays as a personality in this way, I think she's made the jump so believably. You could make her the general manager of Raw, and people would not have an issue with it.
It's interesting for me to hear you say that, only because I know that you a few weeks ago were saying that you felt like Alexa Bliss was like the star of the women's division, that she was like the future of women's wrestling. So I'm kind of surprised to hear you say that you'd be so cool with just seeing her transition into a non-wrestling role now.
Yeah, I feel like because she's getting injured a little more frequently than she has been before, and I'm wondering if maybe she's hitting these physical walls that she has. Because remember, she's not trained as a wrestler from teenager like Lita or Bailey or even Sasha, wanting it from a young age, right? She's a fitness model first, so her body isn't conditioned necessarily over the years to take the hits and the bumps that wrestlers do. And so I feel like maybe there's a possibility here. I glimpsed the possibility of more for her than just being a wrestler. I think there's a bigger role for her to play. So yeah, would it suck to lose her on that end? Sure. But it seems like there's enough going on here with the Riot Squad, the emergence of the Riot Squad, all of them now kind of having their own thing. Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan are having their own thing, and of course Ruby Riot. Then you throw in Nia Jax trying to come on. You throw in Tamina. You throw in Sasha and Bailey now talking about being tag team. There's a lot here to take the place of Alexa if she was to step away from it. So I don't know. I hear what you're saying.
No, I think you're right in that regard. I literally right before we came in here, I put up what I was working on was that I posted a story on the site where Mark Henry talked today on Busted Open Radio about Alexa Bliss's injury and how he had like a 15 to 20 minute conversation with her about it. And I was kind of surprised that he went this in depth about it, even though it's a short clip. It was interesting. He basically says that like she got injured and that she got a concussion. And I remember at the time WWE had said it was an arm injury. Right. But he makes it clear in this thing that she suffered a concussion at the time. And then I want to say that was around SummerSlam. I think that was because of SummerSlam. She got a concussion. And then he says that in that time she like couldn't remember where she was at times, couldn't remember what she was doing at times, couldn't stand up straight, like had all these issues, and that it was really bad off. That's scary. And that she came back too soon, got hit in the head again, and was right back to where she was. And so he does say that she's been cleared. He says that she's been cleared to return to the ring.
Oh, wow.
That's what he says. I haven't been able to verify that. But I mean, I 100% see a future in Alexa Bliss in professional wrestling, not in the ring. I mean, I felt that way about Alexa Bliss before she even really transitioned to the ring. I mean, she was great as a manager for Blake and Murphy.
Yeah.
And you know, even prior to that, like I remember in the old school NXT days, like when she was I want to say she was with Scott Dawson for a very brief minute, and I thought she was entertaining there too. Might have just been in promos that leaked online, but I just remember I've always thought that she was very charismatic. That is her biggest. That's her biggest strength. Is her charisma.
Absolutely.
And so absolutely, I liked her here. I didn't dislike the opening segment or anything like that. I like that. You know, I like when they deviate from the norm a little bit. So in that regard, I did like it.
Did you like? I mean, I started seeing, and I'm an old wrestling fan, so I started seeing shades of Afa and Sika, the Samoan brothers, as I was watching Tamina and Nia do their thing, like the female version of them. You know, just as destructive, just as powerful, and both powerful in different ways as wrestlers. And so that, for the first time ever, I was like, oh, I could see something here. And like you said last week, we see them becoming tag teams all over the women's division slowly but surely. And so we see this coming. And of course, we'll get to it in just a little bit, but like Sasha and Bayley say that in their Q&A thing that they did.
That was the first time it was actually said by talent on like they've said it on Twitter and stuff like that. That was the first time it's been mentioned on TV by the talent, right?
Exactly. So yeah, so it was interesting there. So and speaking of that, that's the next thing we move into. Alexa,
this is the thing I hated.
The open forum? Yeah. I don't disagree with you. It seems weird. Look, Bayley and Sasha have great personalities, but they're not always consistently great on the mic. And so
Bayley definitely not.
Yeah, exactly.
Bayley, I think Sasha, yes, but not in her current, like,
but not consistently great.
Like, no, Sasha can cut a promo.
Yeah, all right.
But I do think that, like, face... It's just tough. It's like
gotcha.
It's
face
hard.
Sasha isn't as good as heel Sasha in promos.
That's how I look at it. That's how I look at
That's
it.
Fair.
And I don't know. This whole thing was just so. One, it was a copy of last week's, one of the least popular segments of last week, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, man.
It was like doubling down on a really shitty segment that nobody cared about. I was like, no, it was good. Look, we'll do it again. And it was like just as bad this time, if not maybe even worse this time, because it was like you didn't see how shitty this was last week. I'm worried that this is going to be a thing they're going to do for the next little bit to try and get to use it as a vehicle to get to the women's tag team titles somehow. I don't know how, but somehow. I mean, even they were talking about like WrestleMania. They were saying like, oh, we want Lita and Trish for the tag team titles at women's tag team titles at WrestleMania. It's the first time a seed like that has really been planted on TV. So if that's the direction they're going, I guess I'll have to tolerate these segments, but I just feel like there's a more interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
Unless, I mean, obviously, I don't know the end game. Maybe they have like a really fun way this is all going to end where like Lita and Trish are in the crowd and they're like, what about these tag team titles or something like that. But overall, I was just like, man, like this was just boring.
Yeah, it was kind of boring, and you wonder what this is going to lead to, because it seemed like they were trying to promote Sasha and Bayley more here, like keep them on TV, put them out in the public, give them extended time in the ring, not wrestling, but extended time in the ring talking. But this, to me, looked like another building block for Alexa stepping in and being the overall. Look, I have a feeling that occurred to me as I was watching this Raw that she is going to backstab Corbin and take the GM spot from him and become GM. Because if she doesn't want to wrestle him, because the concussion stuff is real, people. It is very real, because these athletes are not those fat dudes or fat women you saw from the old days. These are people in super shape, high-end fitness experts, CrossFit, what have you, lifting exorbitant amounts of weight. You see it in the NFL, all the leagues across, now all the sports leagues. It's really transitioned to people who care about their bodies, want as much power as possible, as much strength as possible, and you see people getting hurt more and more. And so if Sasha wants to if Alexa wants to step away, this isn't yet another. She ran that segment so well and so powerfully and kind of made the reverses here. It was just like a mini Stephanie. Oh, I'm in charge of it. I might be a heel. These girls come running out, Dana and Alicia and Mickie James, and no, I'm going to get an impromptu tag match set up, and then she's clapping afterwards when Sasha and Bayley win. So this did nothing for me for Sasha and Bayley. This did everything for me for Alexa.
That I agree with you on. Yeah. And it's funny, I hadn't even thought about that. happening until you started talking about it. But that would kind of be a nice direction to go in with the Baron Corbin kind of like abusing his power, basically.
Yeah.
And that, they'll show like, oh, well, Alexa wasn't abusing her power. Look, she's trying to talk to the fans. She's holding down the women's division. And Stephanie would be like, you know what? I think the better elect will be Alexa Bliss. That's a better story. I think you're. I could 100% see that go in that direction.
And,
100%.
And it works in 2018 where you have 2 female general managers of Raw and SmackDown.
Absolutely.
And 2 female wrestlers that fans really love.
Yes.
I know there's a vocal minority that hate Alexa, which I was surprised to see come after me on numerous social media accounts. I was shocked to see how many people don't like Alexa.
Yeah, I was going to say that when you said how loved Alexa was. I know you.
I had no concept.
That's like me and the Bella Twins, where I'm like, I love them, and everyone's like, bah!
It's shocking to me.
They're like Nia screaming into the microphone backstage last night.
She's beautiful. She can wrestle. She's good on the mic. Like, I don't know what people want here, man. She's still young too. She's still building, and she's got all the building blocks there that I think she'll be in there in the end.
She's got to have that indie cred.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, she's on NXT. That counts, doesn't it?
True.
I know she's not down on OVW or
but
some
she wasn't
shit.
really wrestling in NXT.
I know. Yeah, I know. But she started wrestling, and then she's won the belt multiple times. And there's some good matches.
No, I'm not of that crowd, so I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, I'm trying to.
Rocha.
If anybody out there is feeling that way,
you guys. He's talking to you guys.
I want to hear specifically what your issue is with it. Like, what's specific and make it good, make it intelligent. Don't come in with monosyllabic crap. Literally good. If you give me a good debate, I will come back at you and have a discussion with you. One thing I won't have a discussion with you about is the racism in this Lucha House Party crap. Lucha House Party on a 3-on-1. They're supposed to be faces with Lucha House Rules took on Scott Dawson. Ryan texted me. He goes, "They came out in sombreros. I just said that as a joke." And then they came out in sombreros.
Last week we were talking about this, and we were like, "Next step is they're just gonna have to come out with giant sombreros." Well, we had one part of it wrong. They went with mini sombreros instead of giant sombreros.
Yeah.
I saw some, and I haven't gone and listened to it, but someone tweeted us saying that Kalisto talked about this on Stone Cold's podcast, and I haven't had a chance to go seek this portion out. But basically, the person who tweeted us said that Kalisto said it was their idea, something that they liked, something that they thought the children would like and would help them get them over with little kids and stuff, and that it's like, oh, it makes people happy, so we're doing, that's the reason why they did that. It wasn't a mandate from above. However,
that being said,
it just really does perpetuate like certain stereotypes. Yeah. And even I was texting my friend Kevin Silva, who is also an Hispanic dude. Okay. Who used to be a host on Wrestling Sheet Radio with me. Happy birthday, Kevin! It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Kevin.
And even he was saying the thing that we were like, God, Vince loves this.
Of course.
Vince is so Vince. He's sitting in Gorilla just having a ball, guffawing, just like, And it's just like, I mean, look, I'm not like snowflakes in a room sitting there just like, oh, it's so offensive. Like whatever, but it's just like, man, and we had the whole talk about it last week, so it's not worth going into again. But it was just like, man, you had to add another one in there. Like, I really am. I feel like you said, I think in the text message that next week they're gonna have the guitar,
or the trumpets.
The guitar or the trumpet?
The trumpets, or they're going to wear the all-white suit that you've seen from the old Speedy Gonzalez type of things.
They're going to hand out ponchos to kids in the front row.
They're going to come out like we see here in L.A., cooking those hot dogs wrapped in bacon. They're going to have the card coming out.
You should not have put that idea out into the universe.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. What have you just done?
Or the fruit thing on the side with the juice. That's
so much worse than the lawnmowers that the Mexicools used to ride out in. When the Grand Metal League's walking out there with the little cart. Hot dog wrapped bacon.
Hot dog. Oh, man.
Oh, it's so bad. But I hate it because I almost feel like it's possible now based on And they were even like taking the candy out of the piñatas and handing it to children. Children, I don't care if the guy's on TV. Don't take candy from strangers.
Yeah.
That's a terrible lesson to be teaching on TV, especially if the guy's got a mask on.
But it doesn't matter.
If the guy's got a mask on and he's hiding his identity, do not take candy from him, children.
Even if it's a cat mask.
Satin.
Even if it's a cat mask.
Yeah,
it's not as cute as you think.
The match itself, though, I will say this much.
Grand Metal League?
The match was entertaining.
Yeah, it was.
Like, considering Scott Dawson had to wrestle 3 guys and make it believable, Scott Dawson held his own. They did let him hold his own a little bit in the match. There were parts where he was kind of like holding it down a little bit. The Lucha rules thing, like I just really don't understand.
It's heel stuff.
It's heel stuff.
3-on-1 is heel stuff.
But I don't really understand. Like I was trying to think of this last night, and I was like, okay, I get it. Like whatever. These are fun to watch. It's fun to watch three guys kind of like acrobatic style, just like mixing in and out of the ring, circling and all doing different things. It reminds me of like that video you see from like the 50s of like the French wrestlers that are catapulting into the ring or whatever. Like that's kind of what it looks like when you're watching these Lucha House Party rules matches because they're all just flying in and out and doing their whole thing. So it's a fun thing. Spectacle-wise, viewing-wise, it is entertaining to watch. But I was sitting there trying to think to myself, like where does this go? Like what?
Yeah, are the Revival heels?
They're definitely heels.
Okay.
Which is confusing considering they're just getting ganged up on and beaten up and doesn't make sense. They're like, hey, we just want to follow the rules? Yeah. Like, where Right. But I was trying to figure out like what like I don't see this being a thing that they're gonna have going forward, like for a long time where the Lucha guys are just be able to come in and just beat up people. Like that's not going to be a thing that they're going to start doing. It's not going to be a type of match that's going to get pushed by WWE. If it is, it's going to go the way of the Lions did. No way is Vince going to care about a match like that on a long-term basis. Like I have a hard time believing that.
Yeah, eventually.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's what was interesting. I want to get your thoughts on two things here. Dawson did that promo afterwards.
Great promo.
Did you? That was surprising.
Dude, he killed it.
Yeah.
That promo, if you guys haven't seen it, it's on the WWE YouTube channel. I also retweeted the video. Dude, it was good. Like, it's one of those times where you could tell someone's like, just give me the mic. Like, let me do my thing, And he said it in his tweet. He said, like, give me the mic or just give me the mic every week or something like that. But, man, like that promo, you go like, dude, those guys are great professional wrestlers. Like, they cut promos. They have great matches. They have 5-star matches. Like, they're insanely talented dudes. And all I could think of while watching that promo was also the tweets that they put out.
Yeah.
The revival. The other thing you want to bring up? Okay, cool.
This is fighting the elite.
Yeah.
What is this all
about? So for those of you who didn't see it, Matt Jackson, I'm going to pull it up so I don't butcher the actual tweet, but Matt Jackson said, one day we'll wrestle the revival and everyone will rejoice. Remember this tweet. And then Dash, I believe it was Dash, Dash or Dawson, one of the two, tweeted the exact same thing. Which you don't. I mean, look, I know that they kind of were tongue in cheek about a year ago. I want to say it was a year ago now.
Yeah,
maybe even longer when they were kind of like doing the whole FTR thing, the fuck the revival thing, and they were kind of like, heavily playing that up on being the elite. But then kind of when the invasion thing happened and just kind of like in general, the elite kind of moving away from being like the suckets and the two sweets because of the cease and desist they got. They also moved away from from referencing WWE Town. Well, I guess they still talk about H and they still do it tongue in cheek, but the revival stuff was much more direct, and they really stopped doing it. This is really the first time we've kind of seen them pick that back up again, and I'm like, it's interesting that they did that with all these reports going on about All Elite Wrestling, and even this weekend, on Friday we put up a story about Thursday, we put up a story about Matt and Nick kind of talking about the trademark filings, but they were very coy about it, played it smart. But then you look at Cody, and Cody's literally sitting in the owner's box of the Jacksonville Jaguars game this weekend. Yeah. Like, there's clearly there's something happening, and I'm like, man, it's interesting that the revival are kind of like feeding that. You'd think that might get him a little bit of heat if knowing the industry and knowing WWE.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I wonder if, and I also think this is a dangerous tweet too, Ryan, because we hear all this stuff happening as you just mentioned. Whoa, we hear all this stuff. We had one of the light bulbs go out. Oh, we hear all this stuff. Oh, maybe it's.
Did we do that?
No, I don't think so. Okay.
We start talking about All Elite Wrestling, and someone tries to shut us down.
What the hell?
Powers that be, right? That's what we were on, though, right?
Yeah, we were. We're talking about that, just trying to figure this out here when you look at it. Is this a dangerous tweet for them? Because are they ankling in a way to get involved with All Elite Wrestling? Are there contracts coming out? Are they frustrated about what they're doing at the WWE? Is this a dangerous tweet for them to send out? The Vince goes, what is this all about? Or do you think this is all part of the game? And is there some future that mirrors Impact and Lucha Underground, where who else was in NWA, where they're all fighting interfederation, like
there's
WWE
no
would
way.
Never step down.
There's
but
no way
all
WWE
league gets big enough.
I have a very hard time believing that.
Or maybe NXT.
I have a hard time believing that
Okay.
that All Elite Wrestling will work if it becomes a promotion, that it would work in partnership with WWE.
Right.
As great as that sounds,
Yeah.
I do think we kind of talked about a lot of All Elite Wrestling related things on Wrestling Sheet Radio this last week.
Okay.
And I think we all kind of agreed that those guys working with WWE once their contracts with Ring of Honor are up in any way would kind of spit in the face of the message they're trying to convey with all the stuff they're doing. That that it can be done without WWE, that we're trying to change the game, that we're trying to give people another place. I just think that it kind of goes against what they are promoting, what the people are behind them for. I have a hard time believing they'd be able to convince their current audience of no, man, these guys are great now. Now that we're there, they're great. Right. I just had that hard time believing
That's a great point.
So I do think semi-dangerous of a tweet in terms of it could get them some heat.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, could it get worse than where they're at right now?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point.
Actually, I shouldn't say that. It can. It
could.
I shouldn't say that because we know professional wrestling.
Yeah.
It can. They can bury someone very hard if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
But it's man, it's not good as it is the way they're being used. I mean, they're barely used. The only time they're used is to kind of get other talent over that isn't really even being given a dedicated push. It's like a short-term push.
Right, that's what my concern is.
Yeah.
They're hitting their walls themselves maybe in some way, and if they see the contract running out, they don't want to end up like the Ascension.
Yeah.
The Ascension that's a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
If you're a tag team.
Absolutely. I mean, you were dominant. They were one of the most dominant NXT champions, just like the Revival, and look where they're at now. So yeah,
exactly.
You're absolutely. I mean, look where they're at now in terms of they were getting a push 3 weeks ago, and they haven't been, or a few weeks ago. I don't know exactly 3 weeks, but a few weeks ago they were in the mix. They're nowhere to be found again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. I too have been kind of knocking down a few doors to find out when their contracts are up to, because I'm interested. I also thought the same thing. I thought it was kind of telling.
Yeah. You look at that. Well, someone who is dominant is Drew McIntyre, and Finn Balor had himself a Drew McIntyre appreciation night. He gave him something.
Corbin had it.
I'm sorry, Baron Corbin had this. Baron had him appreciation night of Drew McIntyre. Gave him Raw's Gold Medal of Excellence. I've never heard of that before. I don't know who's ever gotten it in the past. Maybe one of you wrestling fans will let me know if this has been used before. But this whole segment was about criticizing the superstars in the back because Corbin felt that they had betrayed him and they hadn't stood by his side. He said Drew McIntyre stood by his side, and McIntyre came out and said he wanted to shape Raw in his. Once again, another person who wants to come in and shape Raw in their shape. Raw is Rollins, Raw is Owens, Raw is whatever, Raw is Jericho. It's been going on for such a damn long time, and you see now McIntyre wants to do the same thing. But then he says the wrestlers are soft, playing video games on their social media, which probably is a legitimate concern from some other wrestlers. They're probably seeing you're getting over because you're working the social media and not for anything you do in the ring or anything you do outside the ring. You're just doing it through social media. That's certainly a concern for some of the older school wrestlers who respect the business, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So now you hear this situation coming through, a little real life stuff. Then Ziggler comes out and goes, hey, man, I wasn't invited to the party. What's this all about? And McIntyre mocks him. We saw this break coming since the beginning. It finally happened. It seems a little bit, not necessarily organically done, but we did say that Ziggler might turn face a week or two ago, the possibility of it, and it seems like that's what's happening now. But Ziggler hit him with a zigzag and went forward from there. Did you like the way this was all handled, or did you think it was a bit lame?
There were parts I liked and parts I didn't like of it. I liked Drew McIntyre being given a monster push.
Yes.
He deserves it.
Certainly.
He fits the role. He looks the role. He is great in the ring, great on the mic. He's like a physical specimen. I like that. I even liked, the gold medal thing. I was very into all that. Mm-hmm. And I have for a long time said that I think there's money in Dolph Ziggler still.
Sure.
But I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily know if I feel like there's money in a face Dolph Ziggler. I think that that's kind of where he was floundering for so long.
Yeah.
Is like, I'm doing it for you guys. We're doing it together. And it was like the switch to Raw, the pairing with McIntyre, kind of made him feel more fresh.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they had to be together forever, because I think like you said, everyone foresaw from the beginning this is not a permanent vehicle for both of these guys. It was just a temporary thing to kind of get them where they needed to be.
Yeah.
But I just was like, man, I don't know if I think that the crowd. I think that there would have to be a lot of work done to get the crowd behind Dolph Ziggler again, in terms of cheering for him, of like wanting him to overcome the odds, of all that kind of stuff. I feel like we've already been there. We've already done that. So this whole time, I was really hoping that McIntyre was going to be the one that was kind of like giving the face push when they split.
Interesting.
And if not, I was kind of hoping that it was more so of just like, hey, we did what we did. We got where we needed to be. That was why we did it. Now we're going to go our separate ways. Because I do think they're both better as face or as heels.
Yeah.
I think they're both better when they're not better, but they're both good when they're somehow aligned. It's been a good team. That's been it's been good to watch.
They've been fun to watch.
I've enjoyed their matches. I've enjoyed the pairing. So I think that was kind of like where I was at with with the actual in-ring talking segment. I did not like Drew McIntyre's first loss really since hitting the main roster, happening on a random Raw to Dolph Ziggler. I felt like I don't think it's going to necessarily kill his push or stunt his push or anything like that, but I do think that it was kind of like, that's a moment you could have really built up to. Like, he was one of the most dominant people on Raw at this point. And I get that it maybe helps Dolph by beating someone that dominant.
Yeah, but are we in the business of helping Dolph?
That's how I feel right now. Is that I don't think
McIntyre's the one who needs it.
If you're gonna it's like going to a horse race and you're gonna bet on one of these two horses, you're gonna bet on Drew McIntyre right now. And I think the more important thing is preserving Drew McIntyre, not making a face turn for Dolph Ziggler, regardless of how the state of Raw is in flux while they're trying to figure out who's going to be the guy. You know. Also worth noting that was the Universal title mentioned once?
Yeah,
in
I
the
didn't
episode?
hear it at all. Yeah,
it's crazy that with all this going on, not one person cares about the Universal title.
I think that's why I was so mad when he won it. I was so mad when Lesnar won it, because I'm like, no, it just disappears now. It goes right into the ether, and nobody gives a shit till he comes back, and it's frustrating because I'm from the day and the generations and the decades where that belt was prominently featured on all these programs. Hogan fought so much. He defended that belt so many times when they were building the WWE, and you saw Stone Cold, you saw Triple H, you saw Rock, all these people come in. Bret Hart carried it for a long time. This is a legendary belt to carry, and yes, it's Universal Championship now, which makes it a little bit different than
top
the
title
lineage,
in WWE,
but it's still the top title, exactly. And so to have it just disappear for weeks on end or months on end, it's super frustrating. It's super frustrating because, like, well, what's the I don't know, what's the legitimacy
the
of the title?
motivation of anyone on the show?
Right. What's the prestige of the title if it's constantly out of the realm?
Well, I think that's partly why SmackDown is so much more entertaining, because the champion is always there. The championship is a part of the show. Championship is an integral vehicle to push storylines, you know? And so, it's weird when there's like all these guys and there's all these bad guys and nobody cares about the Universal title. If there was one character who just once a week said, where's the Universal title? Why isn't it? I feel like that person would probably get over as like a because you see yourself in that wrestler. If Kevin Owens is on TV every week, like, I want the Universal title back on Raw. It'd be good. It'd be entertaining. So I don't know. I think that, side note, that bothered me a little bit. But I do think that I felt like it was a weird choice to have Drew lose here. Although at the same time, my own devil's advocate, I do understand the idea of like not wanting, they haven't really been pushing up the fact that Drew McIntyre was undefeated or anything like that. It was more just circumstance.
Right.
Like, oh, weird. Actually, he hasn't really gotten pinned on Raw since he came to the main roster. So it wasn't like, oh, his streak has ended or anything like that. But I did think it was an odd choice. I don't think anyone gained from it.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I don't think anyone gained from it. And if you're supposed to push him as a heel, he should be winning this match in some nefarious way and keeps him in the heel spot. And you still build Ziggler up as a face because he's the one being hard done by McIntyre.
Well, granted, I will say we should note that he didn't win clean either. He did have help from Finn Balor.
Sure.
And that was another thing that I did enjoy this whole episode.
Yeah.
I liked the running theme of Finn Balor kind of being like the spoiler to all the bad guys who are running amok right now.
Right.
Like, because he came out in this match, he came out in the other match later in the show, or not the match, but he held Elias later in the show.
Yeah, which we're just going to talk about now. Yeah,
and like, I liked, I do think that Finn Balor could be a replacement as the guy on the show.
Oh.
I love Braun Strowman, and I think Braun Strowman is an easier sell. Because Finn has been kind of damaged since being on the main roster.
Wouldn't that be ironic, though, right? An injury to another person clears the way for Finn when Finn was the one who got injured and cleared the way for other people to step in.
And Finn is looked at as a locker room leader to some, to a good portion of the roster and stuff. So, I think that it would, if they can use this, if they can get Finn over a little bit more. They get Finn out of this, the smiley, not caring about his position, Finn Balor that we've seen, and get him to a prominent face position. Like, I really want to see Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar at like one of the big 4 pay-per-views. Okay. If you could get Finn to that place again, he was there once.
Yeah.
He was there at a certain point. Like, people were so into him. You can get him back there. Yeah. And I do think that, man, like the Demon versus Brock would be a killer Universe title match. Like the guy who never really got his chance to get the Universe title back, never really lost it against Brock, who's never really there. That'd be a fun match.
I agree. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but take a page out of the Action Army and have somebody come out there going, "Where's the belt?" I can't believe I'm saying this. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Elias was introduced to the WWE Universe there and did his thing. He was like, I want to wrap my guitar around Bobby Lashley's head. I want to do all these things that he's doing. Leo Rush came out. Did you like this promo?
Okay, so I was very confused watching this promo.
Yeah.
Because it was like, wait, didn't Elias turn face?
Yeah.
Why is he like talking crap on the crowd again, telling them to silence their cell phones? And then a heel came out to talk shit to him, and you're like, wait, I'm confused.
Yeah.
I thought he turned to face. What's going on here?
Yeah.
But then when it was over, right, there was one little moment to me that I said, you know what? There was more thought put into this than I am giving it credit for. Because I think everyone really was focused, and it's a silly thing, but everyone was so focused on Elias's hair.
Yeah.
And how it was all frizzy and out of control. I think, and this could be looking way too into things, but I think it was done on purpose to show that he is stressed about all the life people beating him up, and that like he was unhappy, like that he was a little frazzled with everything going on. That's why he was talking shit. He was kind of like thrown off, right? The bad guys have been getting to him, right? Then Lashley came out. They get into it, right? Finn helps Elias.
Yeah, throws Leo Rush back into it.
And then right when Finn helps Elias didn't he? I think he hits Leo Rush, right?
Yeah.
Hits him with the guitar or whatever. And then right when he does that, he had this like moment of peace where like he wasn't frazzled anymore. And if you watch, I could be crazy. I could be looking way too deep in this. But when after he did that, he had this like moment of peace for a second. And then he put his hair back. Yeah. And his hair didn't look all frazzled anymore. Like he like went and did one of these like, As a guy who had long hair, I still have long hair. It was like, I could see it was like he was stressed. He like relieved, it felt better about it, and then was like, okay, I'm good now. Thank you, Finn Balor. Hair's back to looking good. And put it back. That was how I looked at it. And I
like this. That's what we do. We analyze. That's what our job is, to analyze.
Maybe I overanalyzed here.
I like it.
But I was like, you know what? I think that there was more thought put into that than I gave it credit for. So I ended up liking it at the end of the day, even though I was very confused as it was happening.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Let's move on here. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, they took on Drake Maverick and AOP. Anything to say here? Maverick defeated Roode.
It was one of those things where this is where the whole handicap rules thing is starting to get to me. It was like, it finally got to me where it was like, really, is this the thing they're going to have Baron Corbin do all the time? Is just like every match change how the match is supposed to be? That is annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Honestly, like, I enjoy the show, but like, when I have a certain set of rules that I abide by in my universe, and it's just constantly being shit on, like, it's frustrating as a viewer. You're like, I can't think of like what to compare it to, but it's like,
what's supposed to be exclusive, this idea that him coming, or anybody, any general manager coming in and going, no DQ now, or I've changed the rule now, or it keeps going, or I'm bringing new referee. That's supposed to be rare. Because it's a frustrating situation. If he's doing it all the time, then the frustration becomes irritation and you lose the authenticity or the uniqueness of that situation.
That was so well worded. That
Don't
was
you think?
yeah. I could not agree with that more.
Yeah.
That was why I as a viewer, you nailed that one, because as a viewer, I go like, oh, Corbin did it again always, you know, but because he's been doing it so much, yeah, it turned into irritation where it was like, really? Like, come on, like do something different. Like, I don't know, like
you can't have a dusty finish for every match.
Yeah, it's like
you just can't.
I used to play Extreme Warfare Revenge on the computer. It's like a game where you can like book wrestling, and yeah, you can like book the finish and stuff. If you booked a show with all dusty finishes, you'd get a bad rating on the show.
And the audience would turn on you.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't have said it any better. You nailed it right there. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to what Ryan really wants to talk about here. Dean Ambrose as Bane, coming out with his gas mask, doing the things that it's crazy. he said he was protecting himself from the scum of Houston, and then he talked about Rollins is going to fight in that TLC match. Talked about what the emotion is, all this kind of stuff, and then of course Rollins came out and attacked him from behind. It was a big old thing. But him coming out in that mask was just brilliant on so many levels. And I'm like, okay, finally you're doing something unique with Ambrose that takes it to the next level. And this feels like he's perfectly suited for crazy shit like this.
When the horns started playing, did you get that it was going to be Ambrose right away?
No.
Or were you like confused when the guys were? Because I was too. I was very confused when the guys started walking out. Like,
who's coming? And when
the new wrestler?
And then when he strut out with the mask, I was like, holy shit! What is this all about?
Okay, I get it. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where it's like you can't hate on this because it's like it's one of those. It's like if you don't like this, you probably don't like WWE, like,
right?
You know, even if you didn't enjoy it or whatever, you can't be like, that was so stupid, because it's like, this is what WWE is. Like, silly things like this are what are what build wrestling, what build WWE specifically. Not professional wrestling necessarily, but definitely WWE in the like sports entertainment aspect of things, where it's like just an outlandish thing that would never happen in real life, but they're able to kind of make it work. So yeah, it was fun to watch. You know, I love when they keep up kayfabe so hard sometimes that they'll say something so stupid on commentary, but like you just like accept it because you're just like, well, whatever. It's a scripted world. But it made me laugh when Michael Cole referred to the guys as the SWAT team.
Yeah, SWAT team.
Because you go like, come on, like the cops took time out of their schedule to come help Dean Ambrose's germophobia obsession on Monday Night Raw. Like, that's not cops, it's indie wrestlers that he put in gas masks. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, obviously Jake the Snake didn't get bit, or you have to buy into it. All that kind of stuff, you know. I liked it, but it's not really something you can pick apart because it was just kind of silly stuff, right?
Who does the siren? Who does was that Scott
Steiner?
Was it Steiner? Yeah, it's right, Steiner.
Yeah. And then Cesaro kind of has one too.
Yes. What's his name? One of the MMA guys, like UFC guys that came in early on. Shamrock had something like that, and then Taz has that. Which is
Taz has it.
Taz has the D. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I love that. No, because
Shamrock was more like. I
thought it started with a do do do, and then he did his thing. But maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong.
No, I think it's just do I did it was justice there.
Heath Slater versus Rhyno. Man,
you didn't like this?
What? Talk to me about it.
Okay, but actually, first of all, before I jump into that, I do want to say, besides the silliness, Dean Ambrose's promo was good.
Fantastic.
Great promo. Like, it was good stuff. Made sense for his character, helped build the story.
It's going to be a fun match.
Yeah, helped get to TLC. So all around, positive for that.
Absolutely.
Gave everyone a meme joke opportunity for a Bane reference. So all around good. I didn't dislike any of the Rhyno Heath Slater stuff. Yeah, okay. I felt like they should have been used this whole time they've been on Raw. Like, I think they were entertaining when they were on SmackDown. So I think even recently I tweeted about how I would love to see Heath Slater get used more. Like, I think I did a story recently about how he said, like, I just want a chance. Like, just please, I just want a chance again. Like, no, I haven't had a chance in so long. Yeah. I forget exactly. I'll pull it up. I forget exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of, like, I just want a chance again. Like, just give me a chance. Like, I just want a chance, And I'm pulling it up as I speak. But he said, that's what he said. He said he's just hoping for a future opportunity. He said, I got signed with WWE when I was 22 years old. I've been through Deep South, Florida Championship Wrestling, and the foundation of NXT. I've been in faction after faction and tag team after tag team. None of them actually went the way I hoped. I just hope that one day before this is all over that I can do things my way. And as a grizzled young vet in the business, I hope that time comes sooner than later.
Yeah.
And that was in September. So, you know, to me, it seems like they might be giving him that chance. Like, you know, like, oh, all right, here. You want an opportunity here. We're going to give you one. Like, the roster's a little more thin right now. Things are in flux. New people are given new opportunities. We need new people in the mid-card. We've got to move some people from the mid-card up to the top of the card, the main event scene. So, like, yeah, you want a chance?
Here you go.
Here's your chance.
You get to step over your friend's body. Good. Here's your chance.
I feel like, 'cause I've been asking around. It doesn't seem like, I saw a story saying that, like, Rhyno said something to the live crowd afterwards. I don't know about that. But from what I've seen, from what I've heard, it doesn't look like Rhyno's actually leaving WWE.
Okay.
So it seems like this is just a storyline.
Sure.
So I'm almost wondering if Rhyno is going to come back as Corbin's like muscle, so to speak.
Oh, it could be good.
Is that like they're going to give them both an opportunity? Like, because I do think the Slater thing has legs where like he's forced to be the referee I jumped a little bit ahead, but you know, he wins the match.
Yeah.
Rhyno gets fired. And then when he gets to the back, he's all, you know, like, hey, can I do anything for Rhyno? That sucked. And Baron Corbin's like, no. Also, you're not a superstar anymore. You're now a referee, and hands him the referee stripes. And then Slater stands there all sad.
I won the match for nothing.
Yeah. All this, I feel like, has legs. Like, I am intrigued by this storyline. Like, I am of the belief that every level of the card should have something. Like, there should be something going on to where it's not like the same people all the time. I think I even mentioned last week. I don't know, it was last week or 2 weeks ago, the Open Challenge. I think that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I said, like, it would be cool if it was Slater again. I like that Slater's getting a chance. I think Slater's someone who has been there with all of these guys. Most of these guys in the main event scene. Slater's been there with them for a long time. Like, look at the rest of 3MB. I mean, they've all had main event title runs, you know? So I think that there's opportunity there for Heath Slater. So when I watched this, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I like it mainly because, look, if it was actually Rhyno leaving, I would think it was a little dick way to have him go out, like you know, a quick match, 20-year vet, over 20-year vet, going out, which is kind of like a whimper. Would be a bummer, but I don't think that's where it's going. I mean, WWE.com did an interview, one of their like backstage things that they love doing, where they post a video on YouTube of their camera guy and the interviewer going up to the wrestler backstage after a bad moment and being like, is there anything you want to say about this? And putting the microphone in their face, and they're just like, and then look at the camera angrily and walk out. So, like, they did one of those at Rhyno to make me think that this is not him actually going away. I feel like he could... Do you think that Rhyno could be repackaged in a way and taken seriously in that whole Bobby Lashley crew of guys?
Listen, you're asking me for my opinion. So I have to give you my opinion.
Your honest opinion. Yeah. You've never been a Rhyno guy?
Here's the deal. And this is really tough for me to say. And if this guy ever sees me on the streets, he'll probably kill me. But
gore you?
Yeah, probably gore me. The thing is, when Rhyno was in shape, Rhyno was, you could believe Rhyno could do and beat anybody. The Rhyno that's heavier now, I don't. The Rhyno looks older. He looks fatter. And so to me, it doesn't exude that kind of guy nowadays that could be repackaged and the fans would get behind, blah, blah, blah. If you turn him into muscle for Corbin, then there's something here, because then you have Slater as the referee, maybe being a referee for these matches. Then you've got Rhyno doing certain things, maybe getting involved in some way, and Slater's looking the other way because it's his friend. And there's storylines to play around with in this way that I think is more believable than giving Rhyno another run in the ring. Or
That's
anything
more
like that.
what I meant, to be honest with you. When I say repackaged and stuff, I don't think that Rhyno has main event run potential or anything like that. But I do think that he could be a useful player in that whole scene right now. You put a suit on Rhyno. We've never really had like suit Rhyno. And I thought when he was running for political office that like it would have been a fun take when he lost to kind of like take that politician Rhyno and have made that his new wrestling character, like failed politician Rhyno, which would have been fun, I thought. But I feel like there's still opportunity to do that. Like, Rhyno is a smart, well-spoken dude. And so I think you put a suit on him, have him be like corporate tool.
Totally works.
I think it totally.
I'm down with that.
Hair. Let him cut his hair. I feel like there'd be something there entertaining wise, and I feel like the Heath Slater thing. Do you feel the same way as me in terms of like there's opportunity there for him? Like, there is a redemption story with him being the referee, and we could lead to that, him being a serious wrestler.
We've seen that happen, right? Where refs are like, where refs get involved in storylines, right? Little H, we saw that way back when. I still love with Robinson, Danny Davis, right? And so there's the Nick. I forget what Nick's name was in WWE.
Patrick.
Nick Patrick. So we've seen referees get involved. Now we rarely see a wrestler turn referee and get involved in a storyline. That's kind of rare. So there's something to explore there for Slater if they stay that route.
But what I'm
and
wondering
then comes
is,
back in the ring.
That's
as a wrestler.
more what I'm
That's
wondering.
what I'm saying.
Do you think that there's
He'll get involved somehow
Yeah.
and then come back in the ring.
I do think that's intriguing. I don't think we've ever seen something like that where someone was. Someone's like, hey, where someone's like, hey, you're at the end of your career. You got to go be a referee now, which is a thing that happens in the industry. I kind of like that. It's like they're played off of a thing that does happen in the industry. Teddy Long, Scott Armstrong, Drake Wirtz at NXT. Like, obviously he's not too old or anything like that, but it was like, hey, you're probably not going to get an opportunity here as a wrestler, but you can have a long career as a referee. Do you want it? Yeah. You know, Scott Armstrong, was a longtime utility player. Now he's a pivotal member of the backstage team, you know, and so referee, pivotal from referee to backstage employee. So I think that I don't think that this is the end of Heath Slater in the ring.
Either one of them, no.
Yeah, or either one of them, exactly. Yeah, I don't think it's the end of either one of them, and I am very intrigued to see where this is going.
Yep.
So because of that, I give it a thumbs up.
Okay.
Cool. The main event is the next thing, right?
Yeah.
Before
Balor.
you get to that,
Yeah.
One more thing that I saw.
We're running out of time.
I know. One more thing that I saw them talk about on. Well, they said we could do extra 10 minutes
we did?
because of the 5 minutes because of the lights going out. But I felt like there was a lot of mixed opinions on Corey Graves calling out Renee Young again.
Okay, and in what way?
Well, a lot of people were like, that was super, and I know this is
about the dating
scripted.
thing with Ambrose?
Yeah, the Ambrose stuff, where it was like, are you really not going to tell us anything? And she's like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I don't know what you want to tell you. Like, professional, personal life, blah, blah. She was kind of mentioning all those things. I saw a lot of people have mixed reactions to it. Some people were like, hey, if this were the real life, this is a real life scenario where suspended disbelief, you wouldn't get mad at your coworker for not wanting to talk about her private life on television or whatever. Did you think that it was a little, it didn't help at all?
It's professional wrestling.
That's how I felt with it.
Like, what are we talking about here?
That's
this is
how
not
I felt.
A real thing that's happening.
Yeah, okay.
If this was real, like an actor at a press conference grilling his fellow actress about her personal life, who maybe she's married to the director, and then he's like, why won't you tell me what the director was thinking during this scene? That's a whole nother ballgame. Just real people talking real stuff about a real thing. Professional wrestling is a whole nother ballgame, and there is no way that they are throwing the Renee Young, Dean Ambrose kind of storyline into the situation without running it by her and him.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. Renee is a lifer. Stop trying to create Renee Young as some kind of damsel in distress for your defense. Renee can handle herself just fine. She's been at the WWE for a very long time, over a decade. She is really cemented.
Has it been a decade now?
I feel like it's been a decade. She's cemented herself powerfully in that organization, and so they're not going to do anything without her consent, her approval, especially something like this. And this gives now Corey Graves and her something to go on about, because before he's bashing, what was the other guy's name? What was the other
Jonathan Coachman.
Yeah, Coachman, or the other guy behind him who got moved to SmackDown. Byron, whatever his name is. Saxton. He gave Byron, they went back and forth and had him and Renee need something, and Renee's becoming more and more vocal in her. She has found her role finally as a color analyst on Raw, playing off Cole, playing off Graves. So to me, this whole thing makes sense, and it gives them both something, their own storyline to have in between matches or during matches, which kind of keeps you going in this way as a watcher of the show. So I have no problem with it all. And again, nobody needs to defend Renee Young. Renee Young can handle herself just fine.
No, even people talk about Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon, how it was fun to have them bicker like that with each other, or Bobby Heenan and Gorilla, they bickered each other like that. So I was very confused by that. I was like, just because she's a woman, like, he's supposed to not do that. He's a bad. He's kind of like the heel commentator.
It's
of course he's gonna do that.
It's almost reverse sexism that you think she needs to be defended for this storyline against Corey Graves. She can handle herself just fine, and she told Corey Graves, "This is what I can and can't talk about. This is what I don't know. It's just as crazy to me as it is to you." She plays into the thing. She understands the business she's in.
Yeah, and I feel like when WWE is ignoring something that is so known to WWE audience, it makes me feel like my intelligence is being insulted a little bit. And so I personally felt like this was a good segment because it made me feel like, oh, they're blending reality with fiction, which is what I love about wrestling when that happens. And yeah, like they're all things that, like, to me, it just like it made sense. So yeah, I didn't understand the people being all angry about it.
Right, because if someone was dating Rhonda or Alexa, let's say Buddy Murphy gets on and becomes like a color analyst, is Corey Graves not allowed to ask him about his relationship with Alexa? Or
I don't think they're together anymore, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So he probably shouldn't.
What? Oh. Anyway, if they were to do that, or let's say then anybody who's involved with any female wrestlers who are wrestling, there's no way they won't find a way to work that storyline in there. So because she's a woman, it shouldn't it's equality. It's equality. So it would all be talked about, and it's pro wrestling, for God's sakes.
That's how I felt about it.
Yeah. Anyway,
that was a weird one. I was like, I tweeted about how I liked it, and people were like, Renee, what? And I was like, what?
I'm confused when people watch professional wrestling. They don't understand what's going on here. They're dealing with they're making fun of the leukemia, for God's sakes. All right. Finn.
Prioritize.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Your anger.
Seriously. You got to look at the levels. Finn Balor took on Jinder Mahal. God knows why. This was like I don't know. Finn took care of business here, but once again, Mahal is just being used as what he's being used as. And
okay.
It was a good match, but it wasn't a great match. And hadn't they fought before when he had the belt? I thought there was something on SmackDown where they fought before, but maybe not. Maybe
Finn
I'm
was
off.
never on SmackDown.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I don't think so.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But at least.
Then Apollo Crews came out.
At least they're using Jinder Mahal again.
Yes, I know, but
because I know that last week we were like,
he's being used.
Competitive match with No Way Jose for a few minutes, but then it led into like a competitive match of Finn Balor now, and so like, it wasn't the most exciting match that's gonna make me like glued to my television,
right?
But it was entertaining. It was passable.
I agree.
And I think that, with all the restructuring going on, I like seeing that Jinder Mahal is not one of the afterthoughts, at least.
Right.
Like, I think that he is an entertainer. I think that he's a capable person in the ring. I didn't hate him as much. I didn't hate his championship run as much as others.
I didn't hate it. I loved it.
Yeah. So I was like, at least he's in the mix a little bit here.
Yeah.
Like, he's not like too wasted.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think people need to analyze their issues with Jinder Mahal being champion, because it was perfect to have him as a heel champion in this way.
It helped.
Because you are watching this going, this guy should not be in this position. It's supposed to make you angry.
That's how it worked.
It's supposed to make you frustrated. You know why? Because there are people you work with who are in positions you don't want them to be. There are people who hate that I'm in this position who I work with.
Which ones?
Not here at the job, but like in other outside who want my job. There's certainly that. So you see that in with Jinder Mahal too. So that's why it was a perfect heel. He frustrated you. They kept winning, and you couldn't lose, and it was frustrating. And you know why? Because he's a heel. It's supposed to make you angry. It just made a lot of sense to me. So, did you like Apollo Crews interfering?
That was the most random thing I have
of
ever.
All people.
That was the most random thing that happened on Raw last night. Is you were like, wait, did Apollo Crews just come out?
Yeah.
Like what? What? Like where?
What's happening here?
And maybe I'm forgetting. Did I miss something?
Is he gonna be in the Bullet Club?
No. Did I miss
Balor
something? Was there a previous thing with
Not
Jinder
that I know
Mahal and
of.
Apollo Crews?
No, that I know of. Well, there was a thing. There was like a few weeks ago. I think he was trying to do the
Shanti thing.
Yeah, the Shanti thing. I think with Apollo, and I think Apollo beat him. So I don't know what this was all about. I don't know.
And I'm sorry if I don't remember that there was a previous thing to those of you watching who are yelling like they wrestled 4 weeks ago on main event or whatever. But like, I don't know. I honestly don't remember it. Yeah. But I was so confused by it. Like I was like, that's random. But and then I was thinking like, so it looks to me like Finn is building his own team.
He's back. Yes, and it feels like after this match, he's back. What you said, he's moving towards that main event picture. Right? It seems very clearly that's what's happening after this match.
Especially when Drew attacked him after, and then it was like, you're like, okay, they have used Finn a lot during this show.
With one of their top heels.
With one of their top heels that they're clearly into right now. Yep. So it seems like they're kind of like giving the ball a little bit to Finn. I'm into it. I liked it.
I think a lot of people are.
I was confused, though, because wait, TLC is next. What's after TLC is like... It's not Royal Rumble after TLC. No.
I don't know.
No. Royal Rumble.
Offhand, I don't know.
Well, no, Royal Rumble's in January, right?
Okay.
Isn't Royal Rumble usually in January? So there's got to be one other one.
Yeah.
Right? Before, are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. TLC is December 16th, 2018. NXT TakeOver January. Yeah, Royal Rumble.
Then Royal Rumble. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe it's like going to be. a thread to get to Royal Rumble, maybe. But I'm wondering like what this team element is really gonna build towards, like. Because, like, I don't know. It's not like I feel like the team of Finn Balor, Apollo Crews, Elias, and I guess Braun Strowman seems like the new version of what was that group called? With Mick Foley, and they had the 2x4s.
With Duggan?
No. It was Mick Foley, Test, Big Show, and someone else.
Jesus, I don't remember.
What were they called? They were. Everyone listening to this that watched the Attitude are so mad at me. Mick Foley, Test, Big Show. They had a name. It was like the Union. I want to say the Union. That was
the
it.
Union.
Yeah, the Union. It reminds me very much of like the Union of just like a. You know, everyone likes these guys, but we're not really sure what to do with them, so we're just gonna throw them in together and have them kind of like do stuff for now because it's a very random foursome, right? Am I right?
No, it is. It's a random foursome.
Like you're like, when did Apollo Crews and
so
Elias and Braun Strowman all become homies? I guess they're all NXT guys.
Yeah.
So that's maybe like a thread.
But the Union was a random pairing.
The Union was so random. I think Ken Shamrock was in that group too.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, Ken Shamrock, Big Show, Test, and Mick Foley. Which you know what?
It's not a bad.
It's very similar to It's very similar to Finn Balor, Apollo Crews, Braun Strowman, and Elias.
You may have cracked this thing. It's certainly possible. They're doing the Union too.
That's crazy. It's like the new Union.
The new Union.
I don't like it.
Well, the red light's on, so we got to wrap this up. Ronda Rousey and Ember Moon then took on Nia Jax and Tamina. First of all, before we get to this match, because obviously Ronda Rousey won this thing, did you like Nia Jax yelling into the mic when she was doing her promo?
Oh, I hated it.
It was terrible, right?
As someone
She's so bad on the mic.
As a loud person, because I am a very loud person, I know that makes people angry because I do that on accident sometimes. I have to watch myself all the time when I'm talking into microphones. My first day at TMZ, I'll never forget when they were like, hey, can you pitch this? And I was like, yeah. And I put the microphone on and I stood at one spot and it was 6 a.m. And I was like, we've got so, and they were like, ah! They all like the whole room. It looked like that like old ad where the sound pushes the guy in the chair. Like the whole room went.
Memorex, I think.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
The guy, everyone in the room went, hey. Down a few notches, dude. Down a few notches. It's 6 a.m. and I was like, oh, sorry. Same way it's Stone Cold's podcast. I was all nervous.
Yeah.
I get whenever I'm nervous, I get way more loud. And I'm already loud, but when I did Stone Cold's podcast, I started like talking all excitedly when we started the interview, and he just like quietly mimicked to me like, take your voice down.
Yeah.
Your voice down. I was like, he's like, you're redlining. And I was like, oh, sorry. So yeah, I know that bothers people, and I finally got to be subjected to it last night myself watching Nia Jax do it. So yeah, that was rough. Don't do that again, guys, please.
That was nuts. I was just like, this is not the way to get her over with the fans. You're trying to use irritation to put her as a heel as opposed to like good stuff.
Yeah,
like smart
irritation.
stuff.
I like that word is good. The irritation. It's like a fine line between frustration and irritation.
It really is.
Yeah.
It always is.
Yeah. The match itself, though, I liked.
Yeah, the match was good. Ember Moon doesn't wrestle a bad match. I'm sorry, she doesn't.
No, and I liked that one part where Ronda was like, I want Nia Jax, and then like Tamina tags in Nia Jax, and Nia Jax gets all like concerned, gets in, like looks like she's gonna do it, and then tagged back in Tamina real fast, and Tamina stood there like looking pissed off. That was a fun moment. I liked it. I felt so bad that running knee didn't connect as well as it did over the weekend at a live event, because I tweeted a GIF of her doing the exact same spot, the Superman elbow to the running knee at a live event, and it looked so dope. It looked so dope. Like I was like, oh, that has to be part of her moveset. Like that's great.
Yeah.
Super powerful running knee, badass. You got to use it. And then I felt so bad on Raw when it just like was so clear, like a terrible angle, made it so obvious that she wasn't touching her in the face. And obviously that happens to like every single wrestler.
Sure.
But when you're trying to create a new moveset and like this is the time you're debuting it on TV and it kind of goes that way, it makes you nervous that we're not going to see her keep doing it. And it looked so cool at the live event. So I liked the match, but I will say that was maybe the most lackluster ending to Raw that I have seen in like a decade. Like I was like, wait, that was the end?
Yeah.
It was almost like that movie, The Cable Guy, when the cable cuts out, you know, and they're all switching their channels. Like, what happened? Like I was like, wait, was it supposed to end there? No one's running out. No one's gonna say anything. There's gonna be no hook for next week. There's literally just. Okay, Ronda Rousey won by. And like it was weird, right?
Yeah, it was a little weird. I guess they're trying to connect the beginning and the end in that way. Like,
true.
With the tag team, and so she does win, and so you go home happy, I guess.
It's a beginning, middle, and end. I guess. But
what a 3-act play.
But yeah, very lackluster ending. I like a little sizzle to my ending.
I agree.
Yeah.
I thoroughly agree with you. And I don't think it helped to promote the match in any way. And, you know, everybody knows what's going to happen. And there's no way she beats Rhyno. There's no way she's the one who's going to take the title off of Ronda.
I saw, what website was it?
A nutty decision to make.
I saw a website, and I forget which website it was, so I don't want to say the wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw some website suggest that Ronda Rousey should lose to Nia Jax in a squash match at TLC, and I was like, and then it said that would save Raw. I was like, no, don't. That person should not be allowed to write editorials anymore.
I agree thoroughly. That's ridiculous. All right, well, that's our recap of Collider. That's our Raw recap on Collider Body Slam. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Ryan, you want to tell them where they can follow us and do whatever?
ProWrestlingSheet.com is the website. YouTube.com/C/WrestlingSheet. That's where all the videos go that we put up. We recently put up a fun video of Jimmy Wang Yang's 15-year-old daughter making her wrestling debut in Japan. It's a short clip, but it's just cool. She was there as part of like a quasi Young Dragons reunion. Cool stuff. But other fun YouTube videos as well. We got a recap, Wrestling Sheet Radio, as well as other things that we're doing here. Also, check out our podcast feed. It's on Podcast One. It's Wrestling Sheet Radio. Right now, it's the recaps and Wrestling Sheet Radio at the end of the week, but I'm working behind the scenes trying to get those slots filled in for the rest of the week again now that we don't have Best of the Rest anymore. But Top 5 will be back in the very near future. They're getting a ton of episodes in the can to make my life easier, and then we're going to bring them back so I can kind of release them more appropriately and not late.
There you go.
Yeah, where can people find everything you're doing, Rocha?
Obviously, you can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Got the Top 10 show and the Cinephiles there on iTunes. Top 10 Under the Schmoes No banner. That we just dropped our new episode this morning. Top 10 Kurt Russell films.
Ooh.
That's right.
Is that new Santa one on there?
Well, that's the inspiration for doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also talked about, we also got coming up this week, we're going to do Heat on the Cinephiles, the 1995 masterpiece from Michael Mann. Of course, all the other stuff I do here at Collider and Collider Sports. We just dropped a new Sports Time yesterday, so go and watch that with me, Makuga, and Matt Nose welcoming Taylor Bisciotti, and all kinds of stuff there on Collider Sports and Collider Gaming. You can even watch me as the Outlaw playing Red Dead Redemption with Dennis for like an hour. I couldn't believe how an hour went by like that with that game. It's crack. That game is crack.
I spent 3 hours just hunting last night to try and get the legendary white bison, so I get it.
Oh my God, Dennis keeps asking me when I'm going to buy it. I'm like, nah, I can't buy this thing.
Yeah, you'll just get hooked.
Hooked, and my girlfriend will leave me, and I can't have that.
That's why I got my girlfriend hooked on video games before it came out, secretly knowing that she would probably like Red Dead Redemption, and it worked, and now she plays it all the time, and I get to play it too. Smart. And now I get to hunt legendary white bisons when she goes to bed, so it's great. Buffalo. Also underrated Kurt Russell movie, Captain Ron.
It's number 10 on Matt's list.
Good job, Matt. I like you, Matt.
Yeah, Matt's had some good choices. I made some quality choices. All right, well, thanks everybody for watching us here, talking about this stuff. We'll be back tomorrow for another episode of a Collider Body Slam SmackDown Live recap. Tune in then.
ProWrestlingSheet.com